He'll fling it. Oh! That's going to count!
I wasn't expecting him to have the success that he had, but it was a very nice surprise.
Connor's been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Anybody inquire about that number 2 pick?
We need contributions from other people.
Who else has got to step up?
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get to a different spark.
Who do you think is the number 1 player?
What's going on? Welcome to MLL Press Pass, the only place on the internet to hear from all 9 coaches in the league every week, all in one place. I'm Travis Eldridge. 8 of the 9 teams played in Week 7, and we start Week 8 with 2 games coming your way here on Thursday. So a lot to ask about, and as always, we start with the Atlanta Blaze.
Interesting, all these guys now going with the all-black sticks.
And bounced in by Connor Kelly. His first career goal gets Atlanta back within 1.
All right, coach, send that ball to the sideline for him.
And we welcome in Blaze coach Liam Banks. And let's start with one of your rookies. We just saw one of his highlights, coaching Connor Kelly, a couple of goals in his debut. What'd you see from him coming out of Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, Connor's a versatile player, as everybody knows. He can play midfield, he can play attack, and he can absolutely shoot the ball. I think he had a nice first game. If you notice, we kind of ran the rookies together, gave them a shot to kind of dive right into the pool, and thought he responded well. I think, that speed of the MLL Lacrosse is a little faster than college lacrosse, so we'll look for all of our rookies, including Connor, to come up to that speed as we move forward, and in particular this weekend.
You mentioned the speed of the league. You guys were in a back-and-forth slugfest with the Lizards here on Saturday night. What do you take away from that loss?
Yeah, take a couple things away. First, obviously, the Lizards battled extremely hard throughout the course of that entire game and did a really nice job of maintaining their lead and going on a big run on us. What I take away is, if you look at that game, we have to finish the ball. We had a lot of opportunities in transition where we did not put the ball in the back of the goal. Our attackmen need to finish the ball better, and then you don't.
And it looks like we may have lost Liam Banks. Hey, you have me now, Coach?
I got you.
Sorry, we lost you for a second. Talking more about the game that you guys played, Kevin Rice with 3 goals and 3 assists, and I know you'd like to see your attackmen finish the ball better, but how much more dangerous does it make him when you have a guy like Connor Kelly that's able to stretch the field at the top of the box?
Yeah, I think we have 2 guys now in Connor Kelly and Deemer Class that can both shoot the 2 ball. Amongst some other players that we do have. So I think that it does stretch the field for us. I thought offensively we played really well. We put up 17 goals. I thought we could have put up more if we finished the ball better. So I think it takes a little load off of Kevin, but Kevin's been, in my mind, one of the best attackmen in this league for the last 3 years. Even through his injuries when he was playing. And he's been an exceptional leader for us this year, and we need our other guys to kind of rise to the level of guys like Kevin and guys like Scott, and make sure that everybody's competing as fiercely as they are the entire 60 minutes.
I'll agree with your statement there about Kevin Rice, especially when he was about to, he was on pace to break that points record a couple of years ago before he got injured. You guys obviously made the move for Joe Nardella here this past week, and you bring him in. He was pretty darn good for you. A goal and an assist, along with over 50% on the faceoffs. You happy with what you got out of him in Game 1?
We're extremely excited to welcome Joe to the Atlanta Blaze. He fits in really well with our team. He's a hard worker. I think he's been an underdog for years, like a lot of the guys that we have on our team. I thought he did an exceptional job this weekend. As I said, he created so much transition for us off that face-off. I think if you look back at the film, it's probably some of the first transition goals we've had off the face-off. And what's great about him is he helps stop runs, and he did a nice job for us during this past weekend. And, we're going to clean some things up and pick up some more ground balls a little better the upcoming weekend and hope for a better result.
And in what you guys did off of the field with some of the trades last week, you also trade your face-off man from before, Jake Withers, to Charlotte. You get a second-round pick in return. What does it say about the league right now that you guys trade a first-rounder for a face-off guy, and then you get a second-rounder in return for another face-off guy?
Yeah, I think if you look at it, Spencer Ford, in my mind, one of the best GMs in the league. When you look at how many games a face-off guy is going to play versus the value that you can get, Joe's a 14-game guy for us, and Jake's an incredible player in his own right, but he does play in the MLL, and this is a good portion of the season. So I thought we got fair value back and moving Jake along to Charlotte, who had a need in that position. I think both teams made out well, and that's the idea of Major League Lacrosse in my mind. Each team has to work together to find equal value trades that make sense for both teams. And in both cases with Boston, I feel like we did that. And also with Charlotte, I feel like we did the same thing.
So, Liam, it's a big week for you. You were hanging out with Hines Ward, the former Super Bowl MVP here last night. What was that like?
Yeah, it's a big week here in Atlanta. That's fun. It was such a great event, really moving. The Positive Athletes Awards were last night, and to hear some of the stories of some of these kids and what they've overcome and what they do in the community and what Hines is doing is really unbelievable, and be included in that. And then Thursday night we got the Atlanta Sports Awards here. And, I think the Georgia Swarm will be honored for their championship last year, which is just a great thing for growing the game of lacrosse, and we've been invited to be there. And then on Friday, before practice, we get to go check out Atlanta United's training facility. So, the city of Atlanta has been so welcoming to Andre Goodger and the new ownership group, and it's just been a really fun experience so far, and we're enjoying it. But at the same time, we have goals for this year, and come Friday, we're going to get back to practice and try and look for a win this weekend against the Hounds, who are an extremely tough team.
Yeah, a big week for you. A big week for a racehorse this weekend as well, as Justify's looking to win the Triple Crown. So we're going to have some fun with all the coaches this week. If you had a Kentucky Derby horse, what would its name be?
Oh, that's easy. LB3.
Boom. There you go. You gotta plug the club lacrosse team while you're at it, right?
Oh, yeah. He'd be, maybe he would be, what would he be? No, I got his name. Parzard Jr.
All right. There you go. So not
now
much
you spell
thinking.
it, Travis. You made me spell last week. You spelled Parzard.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to try. I'm sorry. It's a tough connection, Liam. It's difficult to hear. That's what we're going to go with.
Sounds good.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck here this weekend.
Thanks as always. Have a great week, Travis.
And we're just getting started here on Press Pass. Coming up, top overall pick, Trevor Baptiste. Started slow, but he found a groove and helped the Cannons get a win in Game 1. We'll find out what Coach Sean Quirk noticed about his new face-off man. Plus another big Rambo game. Not enough for Charlotte to get a win, but how Coach Jim Stagnita is looking to make some adjustments entering Week 8.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Said Williams, playing in the indoor league with the Georgia Swarm. Trevor Baptiste, there's number 1! That's gotta feel good. First career MLL goal for Beast Baptiste.
Welcome to Major League Lacrosse. Clever Trevor, a goal for the rookie to help the Cannons get win number 1 with him in the lineup. We've got Coach Sean Quirk with us now on his way down to Dallas. Coach Quirk, what did you say to Trevor Baptiste following Game 1?
We thought Trevor had a really good first game, with us. He integrated so well, Travis, into what we were doing in practice, and really with the guys, they took to him right away. And, more importantly, we thought he played really well, struggled at times, but it's an adjustment, right, going into this league. And he certainly felt good about his production, but knows he can continue to improve. And we're looking forward to having him back at it down in Dallas tomorrow night.
Were you surprised at all that he was off to such a slow start? He lost 7 of the first 9 faceoffs. Is that something you expected, or was that a little bit of a surprise for you?
I'd be lying if I'd say we weren't a little bit surprised, based off of his percentage in college. But, his mental toughness it really is incredible. And I think that's one of the things that makes him such a special guy and special faceoff guy. Is that he just, battled, particularly that second half. He came back and he did really well. He scored that goal, and that got us going. That was a huge energy boost. So, like I said, it's a different level. He understands that, and he's got to make some adjustments with his style and game. But overall, a really good performance out of Travis.
When you look at this game, just overall as a team, you made a bunch of moves last week. You bring in your first overall draft pick. How important was it for you guys to get a win there last weekend?
It was huge. Every game is so critical, and being 1-5, it's like that was almost a must-win for us. And there's a bunch of teams jumbled up right now, and I thought leadership-wise out of the guys, there was a different feel this week in the locker room Friday night, and then Saturday morning. Everyone was just really on the same page. The energy was really good. Guys were excited. The guys that we brought in, certainly with Trevor and Mark Cockerton and Tom Kennedy, those guys just really gave us an extra punch, certainly in practice. And then during the game, we thought all three of those guys played really well.
Yeah, it's tough to play better than Mark Cockerton did in his Cannons debut. He goes out there and scores 6 goals for you. What does he bring to the lineup, and what did you see from him on Saturday night?
Yeah, when we picked him up, we needed a lefty. He's a pure goal scorer. I think in practice Friday night, Saturday morning, he didn't miss the net too much. And we're like, wow, this kid really is a goal scorer. And, he's a veteran. He brings leadership down there. He's so positive. It's about the team. He was certainly excited to get up to Boston. And then, he goes out and scores 6 goals. And we're like, wow, this kid really is what he was advertised to be. And looking forward to having him back out there in the lineup tomorrow night as well.
I know it's only a couple of games in, and it's obviously early in Will Sands' MLL career, but is it safe to say he's kind of the quarterback of what you guys are trying to do offensively?
Definitely. He is. At the end of the game, it's funny you say that. The entire coaching staff said just that. He's so poised out there. He distributes the ball, and Pennell and now Cockerton are out there, and it's taken some pressure off of our midfielders, which those guys have had the brunt of it for a good part of the season, and it's freeing those guys up more to create and do what they can do well. So it seems like there's some good chemistry down there, and Will Sands is certainly leading that charge for us.
So as people can probably hear, you're in the airport on your way down to Dallas for this game here tomorrow night on Thursday against the Rattlers, a team that is red hot, playing like one of the best in the league. What type of roster do you expect to have here on this Thursday game, an important one against a really good team?
Yeah, Dallas, to be frank, I think they're probably playing the best lacrosse that we've seen in the league right now, and they got a powerful lineup. Coming into it, it'll be interesting, being a Thursday game with other guys' duties and everything else, but we're expecting to see their best out there tomorrow night, and it should be a great game. Our guys are fired up for it and ready to get after it for sure.
All right, finally, we're asking all the coaches this in the honor of the opportunity for Justify to win the Triple Crown here on Saturday. If you had a Kentucky Derby horse, what would its name be?
I got to go with Boomer. It's our mascot. So
wow,
we're going to go with Boomer, right? And let's go Cannons here.
There you go, Boomer. I would like that one, a Boomer horse running in the Kentucky Derby. Maybe in years to come. Coach, safe travels down to Dallas, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Travis. Appreciate it.
Coming up, we'll hang out with the Hound Legion. What Coach Jim Stagnita is thinking as they place 2 guys on the IR this week. More on that. Plus, the Bayhawks defense stealing the show? That doesn't sound right, but it was on Saturday. We'll talk about Nico Amato's big game in the cage with Coach Dave Kopp.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Target, Rambo's there to scoop it up.
Looks like they got a fresh shot clock, too, off of hitting the net there. Here's Rambo again. Falling down. Get some, big dog. Here we see him just big body here. Inside roll on his back, throwing it in the net.
Ain't no stopping him now. Matt Rambo has gotten things going in the MLL, and it's full steam ahead for him. He couldn't quite get the Hounds a win at home on Saturday, though. Coach Jim Stagnita is with us now. Why don't we start with Rambo? This is obviously the guy you expected to get when you drafted him in the first round last year. How impressed are you with his abilities to be the quarterback and kind of the leader of this offense?
Well, he's done a great job. He's he's had to be the guy who's, kind of run our offense for us. The ball, it tends to start, and it's in his stick, which is, it's a lot of, there's talented guys on the team, and he's the guy that we need to, to really lead that group, particularly, considering that our lineup has been, inconsistent since game one. He's been the most consistent piece of it. And he stepped up and played well again the other night when we needed him and got us back in the game. It was just, we need a little bit more help from some of the other guys the other night that, we just didn't finish as well as we were capable of. And Denver's playing really well right now. And I thought they played a tremendous game. And that being said, we were in it down the stretch and had our chances. And, unfortunately, for one reason or another, a lot of factors involved, we weren't able to get over that hump.
This week, actually just this morning, you throw John Crawley and Adam Osika on the injured reserve. You activate Tim Rotans. What does that do for your lineup as you look forward to this weekend?
Well, I think Tim, kind of gives us that same element and dynamic that Adam gives us. Maybe even a little bit more on the offensive end. Tim can get up and down the field and be a little bit of a two-way guy, which we like. That's kind of the makeup of our short stick D middies in particular. So we throwing him into the mix. I don't think that there's any drop off. Obviously, he's a talented kid, and we picked him up early in the draft. So we're looking forward to having him in there. Particularly against a team like Atlanta that plays a number of two-way middies. Both Reynolds and Penn can get up and down, and we'll go from defense to offense as will their poles. So I think that that gives us still that balance that we need there, and looking forward to to getting him introduce him to the boys and get him in the lineup this week.
The goalie play was obviously a shaky spot for you in this loss against Denver. Charlie Cipriano had a tough game, just 2 saves with 9 goals. Pierce Bassick comes in, was a little bit better. Where do you foresee that position going as you head into this weekend?
Well, we see it the same as we always have, Travis. We think we have 2 good goalies, and Sip's our starter. He's been our starter. There are some factors. I mean, there's always some factors, but Sip was not with us the night before. He had a prior obligation, and he flew in early that morning, and he was out of sorts. He didn't play the way and as consistently early on as he had played. And we're fortunate enough to have Pierce. We have a really good guy who can come in off the bench and has proven over and over again he prepares like a starter, and he was able to hold off Denver and give us a chance to get back in the game. So we're really comfortable with both of those guys, and it's nice to know that if one guy is going to have an off day, which that happens, we have an answer to that's proven to be consistent.
One of the bright spots in the loss for you is the play of rookie Ben Randall. He comes in and if the stats are correct, causes 5 turnovers in his debut. How impressive of a defender is he?
When you say debut, he's played a couple games.
Right.
He's gotten better every game. He had a lot to learn. We're learning how to use him and how to match him up. He's got a knack for catching skip passes and knocking down balls, and he takes the ball away from someone, a couple times a game. He's going to be a real good one. He's, again, still has a little bit to learn, kind of about the speed of the game and off-ball play, but we're really excited about about both him and Barclay. I mean, Barclay's been tremendous also since he's come in. So, we wanted to shore up that end of the field, and right now we have 2 young guys down there learning every day and getting better at it. So we're going to continue to get better down there.
Sorry, that's my fault. 3rd game for Ben Randall coming out of Ohio State. Still pretty darn good. Just 3 games into your MLL career. This week, you make the trade for Jake Withers, and I know he's not with you yet because of his indoor commitments, but what went into that decision, and how important is it for him to come in and maybe make a splash?
we wanted to, we beginning of the year and off season, Mike Serino and I focused on shoring us up down the middle of the field. And, we want to you got to be consistent at the X in this league, and you got to be able to match up with everybody. And we've dressed two face-off guys to try to find that consistency at the same time. And to be honest with you, we've had a couple injuries, and it's hurt us. We've played the last 2 games at the end of the game with 16 field players who were healthy. And Jake is if I played against him, I watched him in college. He has proven that he can play with the best face-off guys in this league on a daily basis. He can play offense, so he gives us that dynamic, which really appeals to me. He can pick the ball up and start offense from the X. Our guys have been good. We're going, Rack has shown that he has potential in his 2 games. But we really gotta find a way to be as consistent and compete up the middle of the field as best we can. And out of everybody out there, he gives us a great opportunity when he gets in and when he's ready to go to have somebody at that X who is going to be consistent and can compete down the stretch.
I asked this to Liam Banks from the Blaze earlier. What does it say about the need for the face-off position and the importance of it now when you look at the first and second round picks that are being thrown around for some of the elite guys in this league?
It's hard to stop people in this league consistently. Everybody's good on offense, and you need to have possessions. And if you're not getting half of those possessions, even if you are a good defensive team, you're going to give up goals. It's just impossible not to with the level of talent and the consistency of talent in this league. And, so having possession of the ball is, and being able to stop runs. The only way you can stop runs is you got to be able to go back to the X and get the ball. But if if it's make it, take it, it wears you down and it changes the way you play. So I think it's paramount in this league to be able to, to be strong up the middle of the field. We're, this week we're excited because, we have, like I said, our lineup hasn't been consistent at all. We've had guys come in, and I like the guys we've had. But, last week, Mike Earhart in the middle of the field and John Hawes in the middle of the field. That's good for a bunch of possessions every game because those 2 guys, and you had 2 world team players who aren't in the lineup. We can usually replace guys, but replacing guys like those 2 at that level is hard. So, we'll get a good look at Rack this weekend with it's a lot easier when you got Michael Earhart to the right of you and sometimes you got John Hawes to the left of you. So.
Yeah, those wings are positive influences on any face-off guy. It doesn't matter how good you are. Finally, let's have some fun. We're asking coaches about the Triple Crown as Justify is going to have an opportunity at the Belmont here this weekend to win one. If you had a Derby horse, what would its name be?
If I had a horse, what would its name be?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I've never thought about that, honestly. If I had a horse, what would its name be? Stags.
Stags. There we go. I like it. It's short, it's sweet, and of course it comes right from your nickname. It's perfect.
Right. It has some personal appeal.
Yeah, there you go. If you pay all the money for a racehorse, you might as well have a little say in the name, right?
I want him to know he's mine. You bet.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck here this weekend.
All right, thanks, guys.
And you can see the Hounds in action as they hit the road for Hotlanta this weekend to take on the Blaze. You can see that game, as always, right here on Lac Sports Network, coming your way 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our pregame for Week 8 Saturday action starting at 5:30 Eastern here on LSN. As for now, up next, crab cakes and Bayhawks lacrosse. That's what Coach Cottle is all about. Well, we're not sure about the crab cakes part, but definitely the Bayhawks lacrosse. We'll talk about how his defense slowed down the Mighty Machine last weekend. And the only team not to play in Week 7 now finds themselves in a tie for first place. How Coach Bill Warder is approaching tomorrow night's game against the New Look Kings.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
Big time has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Heacock over to Bird. Moves it to Jones. Stanwyck inside. Pretty finish from McKay. Stanwyck to McKay, and it's 3 straight for Chesapeake.
Yeah, I'd say Ian McKay is making quite the impression. The former Catamount clicking so far with Chesapeake. We've got head coach Dave Cottle here now. Along with that sweet goal, the little flip behind, Coach, he also scored a two-pointer. Did you know McKay had two-point range?
You know what? When he came and traveled with us to, I believe it was to Denver, I was amazed about his range and his ability to shoot different shots. So I didn't really think he was going to take a two there, but he looks like he has the ability to make twos.
Yeah, that was it seemed like it was a heads-up play, too, because it was after the flag. It was kind of a free opportunity for him. What kind of lacrosse IQ have you seen from him?
Well, I thought he made the most impressive play he made in the game was not a goal or an assist or anything like that. He was on the box side, and we were coming down in transition, and they did a good job of getting a guy into the hole, and they threw a ball to him, and it was in the air, and that guy was closing on him, and he quick sticked it down to the next guy before that guy came and got him, and he felt the pressure behind and just made a really smart move. And I said, whoa, this guy's a really good player, and he's a smart player. He's going to be able to help us down the road.
Yeah, he's part of a youth movement that is kind of coming through your organization, and I know you talked about it afterward with Evan Washburn and Quint Kesnick, who were on the call here on LSN. How important is this group of second and third round guys that have kind of become a core group, along with some of the veterans and the young rookies that you've sprinkled in around them?
Well, the second-year guys, we had gambled that, Coach Reese and I had gambled that we thought this draft in 17 was really a strong draft, so we traded some older guys. And, when we won back-to-back titles, we got old. And you either depth charge them all or you try to go gradually. And we went gradually, and it took us a while to recover. And, the first couple of years that Coach Reese was coaching, I looked at that roster, and I didn't feel good about it. And then I thought that, Atlanta traded us Miles Jones, and that got us going in the right direction. And then we got Lyle Thompson. But the key to the group has been this group of guys. I think we had 5 picks in the top 20. And we luckily for us, we didn't miss in any of them.
Yeah, they've all been pretty darn good for you. Another guy that was pretty darn good for you in this win over the Machine on Saturday was Nico Amato in goal. Double-digit saves, just 7 goals against. And it looked like the defense also put him in a really good spot. What did you like about what you did on that end of the field this weekend?
I thought we played with great effort and passion, and I think I said that on the TV when the game was over. I have never seen a guy outrun the attackman 5 times for possessions. It's like adding 5 turnovers to their list, and Matt Reese did that. But I thought Goran Murray did a very good job on Connor, who's a good player. Garrett Epple did a good job on Marcus Holman, and I thought that Matt Reese really hustled against Ryan Ambler. So I thought our effort was the game. We weren't perfect, we weren't beautiful, but we really cared and we played hard.
Yeah, you got off to such a fast start. What was the key to the fast start? And then afterward, I know you were talking about how you were disappointed as you guys didn't quite finish. What's the message to the team as you got off to a great start but didn't quite finish things out against the Machine?
Well, again, sometimes with 6 minutes to go in a game, you see what the score is, and you start being conservative in your approaches because you can't lose if you hold the ball 45 seconds every time and you can win some faceoffs. So it was part of that is we took our foot off the gas. But the other part is I thought Ohio did a good job of playing defense, and Kyle Bernlar made some really good saves in a period. And at the same time, I don't think we were as aggressive or shared the ball the way we'd like to. So I think the lesson in that game was in the first quarter where we moved the ball and shared the ball and moved our bodies, we were very good. And as the game went on, we did that less and less. And so hopefully we can learn from that.
When you guys look at what you're trying to do as you move forward, and the big piece you're still waiting for is Lyle Thompson. Any idea on when he may join your team?
Yeah, Lyle went down. He told me right after the Georgia Swarm season that his shoulder was bothering me. He had a look with the doctor last Wednesday. He's going to be out probably at least through July, the beginning of July. And so, but, I think we have enough guys. We have enough guys to do this thing right, and Lyle just, will hopefully take us over the top. But, we got to continue. There is a period of time, Travis, that in 6 consecutive quarters, we gave up a total of 30 goals. In the last 6 quarters, we gave up 10 goals. So hopefully we're improving on the defensive end, and hopefully we're playing hard, and we care, and we're supporting each other a little better than we were in that earlier period.
All right, Coach, let's have some fun here before we let you go. And I know you're in Preakness territory, so this one will hit home. Justify, obviously, going for the Triple Crown this weekend at the Belmont. If you had a Kentucky Derby horse, what would its name be?
No Chance.
No Chance is the horse's name?
That would be my horse's name. No Chance, because I'd have no chance of having a Kentucky Derby horse.
That's the best answer we've gotten so far today. Coach Cotto, appreciate the time. Safe travels this weekend and good luck.
Thank you.
Coming up next here on Press Pass, we'll slither down to Texas where the Rattlers are ready to roll against the Cannons tomorrow night. We'll preview that one with Coach Bill Warder. Plus, Coach B.J. O'Hara had to be super happy to see Zach Currier back in an Outlaws uniform. We'll ask him about that coming up.
Sometimes you do some things and change some things up to get a different spark.
Turns out being on a bye isn't the worst thing in the world. Look who finds themselves at the top of the food chain. With the Hounds loss last Saturday, the Rattlers now tied for first place. Both teams at 5-2 midway through their seasons. The Bayhawks soaring hot on their tails. So just a half game back of those two teams in first. And then you got a mess of teams right around 500 when you look at the Lizards, Outlaws, Machine, and Blaze all there in the mix. And with that, we welcome in the head coach of the now tied for first place Dallas Rattlers, Bill Warder. Got him in between flights as he makes his way down for the home game for the Rattlers here tomorrow night. Any update, first off, on when you may put Ben Reeves in the lineup, your first-round pick?
I think, the next game or two, you'll probably see, Ben in uniform. So just I'm trying to keep you guys on pins and needles. So, sooner or later, he will be in uniform. So probably sooner than later.
Yeah, well, until you tell us, we will continue to ask you for it, and we hope that you break the news right here on MLL Press Pass, help our ratings. Why don't we, when you look ahead here to Boston here tomorrow, your game, it's a new-look Cannons team as they bring in Trevor Baptiste at the faceoff X, Mark Cockerton offensively. What did you see from them? And it seems like they're starting to turn the corner as a better team in this league.
Cockerton is, he's someone we know really well because he played for Rochester. We drafted him. He was phenomenal for us when he played in Rochester. And, he's a guy that, we go through the weeks. We played him this year already in Ohio, and he's a guy you can't let him get a shot because if he shoots it, it's either missing, wide or it's in the net. The goalie's not saving it. So it's one of those things that he's just so dangerous of a shooter. I mean, that was a great pickup by Boston to get one of the better scorers in the MLL, pure scorers. I mean, shooters over the last couple of years. I mean, he's a great guy, great player. I think really highly of him. He played for us for a season or two. So he's love Cockerton.
Well, I mean, one of the last times we saw you in that game against Florida, obviously you guys were good, but there are some transition goals you gave up off of the faceoff. Is there any concern going up against Trevor Baptiste with what he can do at the X about those type of opportunities?
I think every single guy in the MLL faceoff, guy in the MLL has that ability. So it's whether you're going against Trevor or Ben Williams or every single guy in the league has that capability, or else he wouldn't be playing in the MLL. So it's always something just trying to recognize the situation, cutting the break. It's one thing to say, hey, cut the break, but then it's another thing to properly do it. Cut the break and stop the guy at the face-off X. It is a pretty big concern for, I know, every single team because, our guy can do it and so can every other team in the league. So it's really no different. I mean, he obviously has that ability. So does Ben Williams, and so does, go down the list of, face-off guys in the MLL. I mean, they can all do it, or else they wouldn't be facing off.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You guys are coming off a bye week, and maybe it didn't come at the greatest time because it seemed like you were playing some of your best lacrosse of the season. What was the message to the team throughout the bye week as you head into this Thursday game?
Well, I think we were looking at the calendar, and we had, I think we traveled a ton, 5 games on the road. I think if my math is right, counting the calendar, I think we played 7 games in 35 days. And then you're looking around the rest league, and some other teams had 4 games in, and so we had a really pretty tough stretch of just a lot of flights, a lot of games on the road. So it does take a wear and tear on you a little bit, but at the same time you do become pretty well oiled, and you're just getting a pretty good routine, which we definitely we're starting to get into. So it's there's good and bad of it. One good thing is it gives you another chance to get your fitness level up, prepare, hit the fitness and prepare a little bit deeper for the second half of the season. And the good news is we got through our toughest road game stretch. So now we're at home for 5 of our last 7. And that's exciting. It's a little more predictable. You just have your setup, familiarity, the locker rooms and the field and the atmosphere, and being at home is definitely just a little more predictable as far as the logistics of it, and it's good for guys to get in that routine. So we'll start to get in that flow, and but it's good to I think for us the bye week was it was good to just kind of realign a little bit, but at the same time you hate. I know I was talking to one of the coaches this week, and I think he said hey, every single team going to the bye week kind of had a misstep the next time, but that's something you're definitely cautious about.
Yeah, well, it also helps when you have the new digs you guys have down there in Dallas. It's a pretty good home to call home when you look down the stretch of the season with all the home games you guys will have. Finally, we're having some fun with all the coaches here on Press Pass, and in honor of the Triple Crown possibly being achieved at the Belmont this weekend, we're asking, if you had a Kentucky Derby horse, what would its name be?
I can't choose Secretariat, right?
No, that one was already taken.
The Man of War Secretariat. What's that one from Racing Stripes? I guess I'll take that one. That's a kid movie, so I have a couple of young kids. So whatever that horse's name is.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up and inform the viewers later on.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll go with that one. And Stripe, was it Stripes?
Stripes. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, Stripes is going to win the race.
Stripes for Coach Bill Warder. Yeah. Hey, Coach, safe travels down to Dallas. We'll catch up with you again next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Thank you.
You can see the Rats in action here tomorrow night on Lac Sports Network. Dallas welcomes the Cannons to Frisco, looking for sole possession of first place. Game time set for 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. Pre-game getting you started 7:30 Eastern. That's 6:30 Central, right here on LSN. Coming off a second straight win, the Outlaws have a championship rematch matinee coming up here on Thursday. We'll talk with Coach B.J. O'Hara. And what's up with Tucker Durkin? We'll get the latest on the Launch Star defenseman who was out of the lineup last week.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
And now Courier trying to get around Bassett, and he shovels it home.
See it backing his man down, fakes a pass which freezes Richards, and really didn't give Pierce Bassett a chance there with that backhand diving goal. Awesome play.
Welcome back, Zach Courier, the Canadian, made his return to the Outlaws, and he helped Denver win its second straight over Charlotte. We now welcome in head coach B.J. O'Hara, and there had to be a big smile on your face when you get Zach Courier and Wes Berg back in your lineup. What did those two guys do for you guys offensively?
Well, Bergie's pretty much strictly offense. Zach does all kinds of things for us. Obviously accomplished on the offensive end, but he took most of our wings on the face-off, placed some D mini. If we even need him to face off, he can. So it was great having him back in the lineup. That goal you see there, that was a huge play for us. To get us some momentum back, and Wes is just a prolific scorer, and these guys are pros. That's what they do for a living, and they're always ready to play.
Yeah, we certainly saw that this weekend. Scoring was really well distributed. How happy were you with all the different pieces that all got like a little piece of the pie?
Yeah, talking with John Grant, our offensive coach, after we felt like it was some of our best half-field offense we've played so far this year. Obviously, having those guys in the lineup helps, but I think all in all, we were really moving the ball and sharing it, and finding the open man and making that extra pass. And if we can do that, we're pretty dangerous.
I think the other guy that added a dimension for you was Mikey Schlosser. And anybody who, unless you're a Michigan lacrosse fan, you may not be super familiar with him. But he goes out there and scores 3 goals. What does he bring to this team?
Well, he's bringing the mullet back, that's for sure. So, no, he's just got tremendous speed, and he's really, really. I think he's getting more and more sure of himself every game, and he's awful tough to stop. He scored a big goal for us when we were man down. The coach had a little boo-boo with the referee, so we were man down, and Mikey bailed me out and scored a big short-handed goal for us.
He always gets some brownie points when he bails out the coach for one of those. When you look at how fast you were able to get off to a good start there against Charlotte, how key was that to your confidence and everything moving forward as you had some new pieces back in the lineup?
Yeah, as you know, we played them back-to-back, and both games were very, very similar. We got up early, and they're an awful tough group, and they don't quit, and they got some momentum back, and I was really proud of the way the guys answered when we needed them to. We were able to stop some of their runs and make some big plays and score some timely goals, but getting that lead early really helps.
So you have now a rematch of the last two MLL championship games as you welcome the Machine out there to Denver for a little matinee matchup here tomorrow. How important are these games with the Machine? Well, the two of you have really split just about everything there is over the last several seasons.
Yeah, most of our games have been settled by just a goal or two, and we can't expect anything different tomorrow. I'd be lying if I said I haven't been looking forward to this one for a few months, and I'm sure they are too. So it's got all the makings of a real good game. It's going to be a nice crowd, nice day. Sun's going to be shining in the stadium, and it'll be a fun day.
Especially knowing where the two of you are in the standings, kind of right there in the middle of the pack, an opportunity to jump above, continue to jump above other teams in that region. Does that put added importance on what you guys have, the opportunity you have here on a Thursday afternoon?
For sure. We got a little bit of momentum coming off a couple good results with Charlotte, starting to climb our way up the ladder. You start to run out of wiggle room, as the season goes on. So every game is even more important. And obviously the one that's the most important right now is the one that we have tomorrow against Ohio.
So we talked about Chris Cloutier and his 6 goals here last week when he came in his stellar debut. He comes out there here again this past week. He scores 2 goals, also adds a couple of assists. Were you surprised to see that added dynamic to his game as he gets a little bit more attention after his stellar debut?
Well, he's got great vision, gets the ball out of his stick quickly. He actually struggled a little bit early in the game, and I was really proud of him. He hung in there, and he made some big plays and scored some big goals for us toward the end of the game. So he's going to be a great MLL player going forward.
And he's a good guy to have on your side. That's for sure. Finally, we're asking all the coaches, and I know you've been watching because I heard it in the background, so we're asking all the coaches about what they would name their Kentucky Derby horse in honor of the possible Triple Crown winner going out there this Saturday. So what would your Derby horse name be?
Well, I thought long and hard about it. I think Hurry Back.
Hurry Back? Why?
Yeah. Hurry back to the start. Get around the track fast.
Well, if they hurry back, maybe they'll win, and then you can make lots of money with a Kentucky Derby horse winner.
That's right. We'll have our Belmont pool on Saturday. So.
Oh, perfect. Well, there you go. So the Outlaws have a Belmont pool, And Hurry Back is the name for Coach B.J. O'Hara. Coach, appreciate the time, and enjoy a fun afternoon there with all the kids in the Mile High Country here tomorrow.
Will do, Travis. Thank you.
And we will have that championship rematch coming your way in a matinee matchup there tomorrow afternoon. And it's an excuse not to work on a Thursday afternoon. Sneak the game up there on your LSN app on your phone. It's a perfect way to spend your afternoon here on Thursday. Game time between the Machine and the Outlaws set for 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's noon Mountain time. Pre-game starting 1:30 Eastern, 11:30 Mountain time, only here on Lax Sports Network. As for now, up next, we'll try to figure out what's going on with Florida as the Launch have hit a rough patch here in this 2018 season. Plus, what did Joe Spallina tell Paul Rabel after he tied the MLL's all-time points record? We'll find out coming up next.
Sometimes you do some things and change some things up to get a different spark.
Connor's been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Barber racing downhill, kick out by McCardle. And a beautiful shot and a finish by Brian Cole.
This is a real Canadian goal here.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're aware that he's one of those guys who can make that play happen.
That was one of the bright spots for the fast start for the Launch here in Boston on Saturday, but not able to snap that losing streak. Florida coach Tom Mariano is with us now. Coach, why don't we just start off with that third quarter? That seemed to be where things went downhill for you guys up here in Boston. What did you see happen with your team there?
Just a couple inches here and there. I mean, honestly, we've got some great opportunities in offense. We don't convert, and they did a good job of converting down the other end. So instead of us scoring, we're now on our heels, giving up a goal. And I think that's part of the league. It's a game of runs. And sometimes those runs are compounded when you make some mistakes.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And you heard Coach Joe Spallina this past weekend talk about how it's a league of runs. It's just trying to string the biggest one or the last one together. Obviously, that was something Boston was able to do. The face-off matchup was obviously highly anticipated because it was Trevor Baptiste's debut. But your guy, Ben Williams, was really good, especially in that first half. What did you see in that matchup between those two guys?
I just think they're both excellent. They're both really good technicians, both very good athletes. And I think it was something they never had the chance to go against each other in college, and I think they wanted to. And I think it was a great battle within the battle. I was really impressed with both of them on just the adjustments they made, the counters, their effort, the energy, but ultimately how they both competed was very impressive.
I would have loved to have seen him play in college because it meant Syracuse would have played a little bit later into the tournament, but that's another story for another day. The big question for you, for us, is we saw Tucker Durkin on the sideline, your all-star defenseman. What's going on with him? Any update on if he's going to be back? Why was he out?
He got hurt in practice, actually the start of practice on Friday, tweaked something, and just wasn't able to play. He would play 50%, but he wasn't even close to being able to play at the level he needs to and the level the league needs to and we need to. And right now he's day-to-day.
Obviously, Durkin, one of the guys that helps protect Austin Kaut in goal for you guys. He made 18 saves. Is there a problem for him to make that many saves, see that many shots, and be good for you, and then you guys still get a loss? What did you see defensively?
Just, some mistakes, some transition, which, was kind of an offensive mistake into a defensive mistake. We were kind of on our heels a couple times defensively in transition. And, I thought at times, I loved how we played defense late in that fourth quarter. We just aren't being consistent on defense right now and offense. We've just got to work on our consistency and our execution.
You're obviously in a losing streak. You started this season hot, so the team has shown the promise, and that you guys have been close. What's the message for your team as you get ready for another one here this weekend?
Stick together. Just keep working, keep doing the right things, and it's going to come. If you watch some of these games, it comes down to a couple plays that could go either way, and we've got to do a better job of making sure they go our way.
Hey, we're taking a look at Connor Busick and his two-pointer in his first game back. What kind of dynamic does he add to your offense with him back in the lineup?
I mean, he's a big, strong Dodger. He's one of the better shooters in the league, so it adds a whole new dimension. And he just can do so many different things. He can be a two-way guy, get up down the field. He's got a good feel for the game, so he just adds another dimension to it. You saw that on Saturday.
All right, finally, Coach, let's have some fun. I don't know if you've been watching the show, but we're asking every coach in honor of the Belmont Stakes here this weekend and a possible Triple Crown. If you had a Kentucky Derby horse, what would its name be?
A Kentucky Derby horse. Wounded Hat. I have no idea.
Wounded Hat. All right. Wait, look.
I have no idea.
It's the great part about a Kentucky Derby horse name. It can be essentially anything you want.
Well, I figured Kentucky Derby, there's lots of hats there. We'll go Wounded Hat.
Yeah, there you go. A Wounded Big Hat for Tom Mariano's Kentucky Derby horse name. Hey, Coach, good luck this weekend. Thanks again for the time.
All right. Thanks, Travis.
Coming up next, don't look now, but the Lizards have it all clicking, it seems, what Coach Joe Spallina is seeing from his star-studded roster. Plus, speaking of stars, Tom Schreiber has missed the last 2 games on injured reserve. Will he play in either of the Machine's 2 games this week? We'll ask Coach Bear Davis. It's coming up.
Sometimes you do some things and change some things up to get a different spark.
So the second game of the weekend for the Ohio Machine, back in Ohio on Saturdays. They welcome in the Rising Bayhawks. Game time for that one at Fortress Obeth, set for 6 p.m. Eastern time. Our pregame show leading into a trio of Saturday games here in Major League Lacrosse in Week 8, starting at 5:30, only here on LAC Sports Network.
We'll have players Saturday. A 2-pointer, though. This could get interesting, everybody. A 2-pointer from the old man, Kyle Harrison.
Vintage K-18, but a slow start dooming the Machine in Chesapeake on Saturday. Coach Bear Davis joining us now as he's made his way to Denver for tomorrow's game with the Outlaws. Coach, let's just start with what happened there on Saturday night. What did you notice from your team about that slow start, and you guys dug yourself in a pretty big hole early?
Yeah, I think we were just fell victim to a lot of compound bad plays, and the snowballs started rolling downhill a little bit, and certainly that was helped by some great play by Chesapeake. Felt like they capitalized and we just didn't, and then we found ourselves in a pretty big hole. And I thought we came out the second half and played a great half. As far as just defensively, our defensive unit, our face-off unit stepped up, and our offense finally woke up in the fourth quarter. But obviously you got to do all those things for much more than one half, that's for sure, or one quarter. So hats off to Chesapeake. They came out ready to play and certainly stuck it to us.
After kind of a slower start to the season, when you had a bunch of home games and you had the off week in week 1, you guys are in a really tough stretch when you had Chesapeake and then this Thursday game in Denver, and then you're back in Ohio against Chesapeake again. What's your message to the team about this stretch and what you guys are trying to do?
I don't think anybody has an easy road in this league. You look, everyone's got pretty much a three game stretch in 8 days. Everybody does, plays tough teams. They're all tough. There's no easy teams. So it's not like you look at anyone's schedule and say, oh, they got an easy path right here. So it's the same thing. We got to keep plugging away. We got to get ready for the next one. We got to win today. We got to recover from Chesapeake, learn from our mistakes, and then get ready for a very dangerous, potent, Denver team, and then we go back home and we get another opportunity back at Chesapeake. So, we've been in every scenario in the past 4 years. I think that's the nice thing about this squad is, we've kind of found our way to the playoffs in multiple different ways. So, sometimes we got to dig back and think about, where we were at certain times in certain years and figure out, what was some keys that we focused on. And we're fortunate we have some veterans and a good staff that can pull from that experience and hopefully use it, heading forward here.
One of those guys that obviously has plenty of experience on this stage, Tom Schreiber, two-time league MVP. He's been out the last 2 games. Any chance we will see him at all in these 2 games this weekend?
Yeah, Tommy's he's pretty much day by day right now, as far as like he's going through some physical just some physical therapy and some treatments, and I think he's feeling much better, and we're just for us it's no, I mean, obviously I'd like to have a rush on it, but at the same time his health is a top priority for us, and so we're playing it by ear with our training team.
The other 2 guys offensively that people are looking forward to seeing is 1, your rookie Justin Gutterding, and 2, the guy you traded for last week in Davey Emela. What are their statuses as we look forward to 2 games here over the course of the next 3 days?
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting those guys in the lineup and seeing how they fit in, and we're excited about those opportunities. Especially when you have 3 games in 8 days. Trying to get fresh legs in and and get a couple different looks. It does create some opportunities for, all 25 guys in the roster. We've always said that you got to win. You got to win games with 20 through 25, and also rookies that come in, they got to contribute. It's some of these other teams have been pretty fortunate to have those, rookies come in and help them win some games, and we're looking forward to it. I mean, I thought the rookies that we put in last week, and including Kenny Massa, who's been in for a couple games, played great, and we expect nothing less from Justin for sure.
I think it was interesting. You mentioned one of those rookies in Bryce Young defensively. This is a defensive unit that's been a core unit with a lot of the same guys for the last couple of years. How did you feel like he found his way to fit into what you guys like to do defensively?
He has some chemistry with Kyle in the cage, so that certainly helps. And then also I just think he plays with a chip, and we love it. I think he's got some great range. He's a tough, he's a very tough guy, and I think he thrives in some tough matchups. So we're excited to have him a part of this unit, and we're looking forward to what he can bring to the table. As he develops. I thought his first half to second half he grew a ton. And I don't expect him looking back anytime soon in that.
Finally, we'll get you out of here on our racehorse question. If you had a Kentucky Derby horse, what would its name be?
It would be No Glue for You.
Why?
Because if you win, you're not going to the glue factory. So No Glue for You.
Well, there you go. Bear Davis. No Glue for You. Coach, appreciate the time. Good luck tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Travis.
Coming up, what did Coach Joe Spallina say to Paul Rabel after he tied the MLL's all-time points record? We'll find out coming up next.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
So apparently the Charlotte Hounds had beaten us to the punch with this Derby horse name. They tweeted this out back in May, and they tweeted it at me after we started the show. Here's a look at their contestants for their Derby horse name. Got No Fear Rambo is here, Basset Hound, the McCallion Stallion, and Blue Stagnita. And apparently the fans like Got No Fear Rambo is here. I'm a fan of that one. That one could work. Thank you, Charlotte Hounds, for watching. Good stuff.
Pinnell feeds, Rabel scores high, and there it is. He ties John Grant Jr. for the most points all time in Major League Lacrosse history.
That was it. Paul Rabel pulling into a tie with John Grant Jr. for the MLL's all-time points record at 541. He'll have a chance to break that this week against the Launch. Coach Joe Spallina is with us now. Coach, what did you tell Paul Rabel about tying the all-time points record?
I think the biggest thing for us was just trying to get a huge W on the road. Obviously, I congratulated him. He kind of was ho-hum about it. I think everybody was just kind of really focused on us getting the W. And you know, Paul's a true professional. He wasn't dwelling too much on anything other than the team. But I think everybody obviously in our locker room took notice, and we're really happy for him. It's you know, it's an incredible number. It really is. You think about, you know, the trials and tribulations and being in the league as long as he has and being as successful as consistently as he's been. It's truly, you know, amazing.
Yeah, and one of the guys that ran alongside him there in the midfield was Joel Tinney, a guy just coming into this league. With all the different stars that you have on that offense, and you plug in a rookie and he comes in there and has the game that he did, how impressive is that when Joel Tinney's looking around and he's looking at Rabel and Walters and Pinnell alongside him?
Oh, boy, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's, we really, let me tell you, and just the way he gets up and down the field. There was a play where he got caught on an invert, and Kevin Rice was trying to take him to the cage, and I think he showed how powerful, how strong he is. He kind of sat him down, and you know, and that's a tough matchup for any midfielder, let alone a guy in his first game ever. Obviously, with a great attackman like Kevin is. But to me, I mean, he does everything. He's on the wings, and we were short a guy. You know, we were light a guy in the defensive midfield, so he played probably a little bit more defense than we would have liked for him to play. But if you look at the job he did, there were a couple of shots he gave up, I felt, you know, where maybe in this next game, when he came off, we were like, you got to let that go. But he is so good. He's just a guy who I feel is was something that we lacked. You know, he's almost like an offensive Steve DiNapoli, that fire plug, and he's obviously got the box background, and you could see it even by his first goal where he kind of cut and put his stick in a spot where only he could make the catch, and had that great finish there, and scored another goal later on a different kind of play. But you know, we really like everything that he brings, and you know, I think he's going to just keep getting better. I think this guy's he's tailor-made for this league. I think he's gonna set this league on fire.
He obviously helped you guys get an important win, and on top of it, you beat the Blaze by 3, which gives you the tiebreak. How important was that tiebreak in the back of your mind?
It wasn't in the back of my mind. We talked about it in the huddle from the 4-minute mark on that, you know, they had called a couple timeouts, and we were very we were wondering how they were going to play. Would they go to try to just get a 1 as opposed to they were trying to shoot 2s, and were they going to try to get the quick 1 and just get the tiebreaker even? But they didn't go down. You know, they were going different route. They were trying to hit some 2s. Obviously, were trying to come back and win the game. But it's one of those things where it's a tough message. If you're in that other huddle, I've been there, where you're trying to tell guys, you know, you want to, obviously your message should be to win the game, but also you have to talk about the tiebreaker, because in this league, as we all know, last year, you know, every year the margin of error is just so slim. It could have been the difference, you know, in us making the playoffs or them making the playoffs, that tiebreaker there. So that was something we spoke about right up front with the guys. Before the game, we spoke about it, during the game, and certainly at the end of the game, where we were able to get that tiebreaker. Now, you know, you look at this weekend, having beat Florida by 1, you know, you have to win this game. For us, this is a game we have to try to win, because that tiebreaker, you know, they're either going to be even or they're going to own the tiebreaker if they win. So we understand what's at stake the next 2 weeks, and then we play Charlotte, who we only play 1 time. So we have a chance to settle tiebreakers in 3 straight weeks with quality performances, and that's what we're looking to do. We're not looking big picture stuff right now as much as talking about it. We got to we haven't handled success extremely well, so we have 2 wins in a row, and we want to just try to focus on a great Florida team that's going to be really hungry to play on Saturday.
Coach, all of a sudden we look on the sideline here last Saturday, and Chris Mattis is on your roster. How did Chris Mattis end up a New York Lizard?
He was on the practice squad of another squad. They tried to bring him down, I guess, probably for the weekend, and then pop him back up, and we were able to scoop him. You know, and I think anytime you could bring an all-star, a true professional onto your roster, it's something that you got to do. So obviously, you know, I know Chris for a long time. He's a great person, great locker room guy. He's got a good relationship with Brendan Fowler. So we're just trying to get the right configuration. I really feel good about where we are as a team right now, and the guys that we have together. Now it's just a matter of us stringing together, you know, quality performances, and we certainly have our work cut out for us this weekend.
What happened to JoJo Marasco's number 22 jersey? I got to know.
Yeah, that was, I was trying to send JoJo a message by giving him the blood jersey now, but, if that was what we were doing, it worked, I guess, because he had a heck of a game. But, there was an issue with the jersey, and we were able to, he's such a good guy. He doesn't care. He just wants to play. He just wants our team to win. So the guys were busting his chops, telling him that he hasn't been producing. So we had to take the name off his back and change his number. And lo and behold, he scored a couple of goals and was a catalyst in us being a good team on this past week.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well for you guys. Finally, we'll get you out of here on this. I don't know if you've been watching the show, but we're asking coaches in honor of the Belmont Stakes right in your neck of the woods. What would your Kentucky Derby horse name be?
Oh boy. Well, how about with in lieu of our new rookie LSM? How about Ray Day?
Oh, R-E-H Day.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's a solid one. You've had a couple of Rays on this roster.
Yeah, we have. Troy was awesome this week, and we're pumped to have him. He's going to do well in this league.
So there you have it. As just a rookie in this league, Coach Joe Spallina is putting Troy Ray in charge of his Kentucky Derby horse name. Coach, appreciate the time. Good luck here this weekend. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you.
And you can see if Rabel can break that record this Saturday against the Launch right here on Lax Sports Network. Game time on Long Island set for 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our pregame coverage for all of the Week 8 Saturday games starts at 5:30, only here on LSN. And that's going to do it for this edition of MLL Press Pass. I'm Travis Eldridge. Enjoy Week 8, and we'll see you right back here next Wednesday.